Good evening. My name is Sasha, and I am going to summarize the best practices for K 12. There are the three articles that I chose. The first one would be applying best practice online learning, teaching, and support to intensive online environments and integrative review. And this article was simply talking about ensuring that the teachers are competent in the information that they are giving out and that they know how to clearly develop the website and handle the online technology, that they have a clear understanding of the online technology so that they can ensure that their students are successful. The conceptual framework for this article says the technological, pedagogical, content, I may have said that wrong, but it's okay, content knowledge, or the TPAC model proposed by Maisha Kohler, provides a useful framework through which to view teacher competencies across multiple levels. And we can apply this model, consider teacher skills and intensive online environments. So it's focusing more on the teacher than it is on the actual student to ensure that the teacher understands what to do so that they can ensure that their students know what to do. The second article that I came across is Learning Styles, a review of theory, application, and best practices. And this one focuses on the learning styles and the things available to support the different learning styles. And they're focused and to focus on the lessons that incorporate the different learning styles. This can help and it can also hurt. It was talking about this in the article, how it can be useful and it can also cause the teacher to focus so much on teaching to specific learning styles that sometimes it excludes other learning styles or excludes their ability to be creative when they are incorporating learning styles. But they are doing more research on how to drive online learning based off of learning styles, focusing on the learning styles so that the student can be successful and they can learn as much as possible the way that they learn. The conceptual framework, it doesn't really have much of a conceptual framework. In the article, it says the lack of a conceptual framework for both learning style theory and measurement is a common and central criticism in this area. So it was talking about the learning style theory, but it was saying that it's criticized a lot because it can harm the learner or the instructor, or it can be helpful, but they're also doing more research to define and utilize learning style theory within the online classroom. And the final article that I read is called Understanding Online Teacher Best Practices, a thematic analysis to improve learning. And this one focuses on the commonalities between the traditional learning and the online learning and how they're different. So it's almost like a compare contrast, but it was focused more on the commonalities. They were saying that the online learning and the traditional classroom setting, they differ significantly because of the delivery. Um, Also, it was saying the best practices in this article. They came up with three actual best practices for online education. And the first one, when they did the case studies, the first one focused on connecting with students, establishing a fluid practice, engaging students with the content, managing the course, supporting student success. That was the first one. So the second case study they did, they came up with comfortable with the students have to be, and the teacher, excuse me, have to be comfortable with technology. They have to desire to stay current with changes in technology and have the ability to personalize their course. The teacher would have the ability to personalize their course to meet the interests of the online student. It has to be relevant for the students. They would have to manage the online classroom appropriately. They will have to assess students using various strategies and providing immediate feedback on assignments. They will have to also engage students with rigorous and interesting content because no one wants to be in a boring online class. And so they have to make sure that it's engaging and it's interesting. It's not like a traditional classroom setting where it's just lecture style. Um, they will have to make the course meaningful for students, provide support and communication also to their students. So that was the second case study. And on the third case study, they would have to provide many sources of content, videos, graphics, so on and so forth, graphs, whatever they needed for the learner. They would provide timely feedback for the students, and they would provide opportunities for student choice. They would also provide opportunities for students to manage their own learning program, publish rubrics, include examples of guides to guide the students, create authentic learning experiences for the students. It's very important, and incorporate activities students find fun and lessen anxiety, encourage engagement. They also talked about using social media to encourage student collaboration and interaction, which is something that we have been talking about during the course of this class. And so in closing, they did 6 teacher best practice studies that were examined, and the emergent themes of the teacher flexibility, clear communication, relationship building, and personalized learning surface. Those were the main ones that they focused on when it came to this article. So they wanted to make sure that this was student-centered, and they wanted to talk about how there's complete differences between the traditional learning environment and the online learning environment. So these are the 3 articles that I focused on, or I read, that I did my research on. And I found this to be congruent with my personal theory, because I feel like if a student is in a classroom to learn, then it should be about them and their learning. Too many times students are just being taught to instead of being a part of their learning. So I feel like it is very important to make sure a student is a part of their learning instead of simply being taught to. That's my personal belief on education, whether it's online or traditional. They should feel like they're a part of learning, and it should be meaningful to them.